Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this very tropical edition of the Banter podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you can probably see we are all wearing Hawaiian shirts today. This was kind of planned, but not for the podcast. We have something else going on today. But that's besides the point. We're here, we're recording Banter on the day that's actually released. I'm going to be your host today. I'm Brennan Kirkpatrick, joined alongside Korey and Kyle Pritchard. Boys, how are you doing this morning?
Good.
I'm feeling pretty tropical right now.
Aloha.
Yeah, aloha.
Aloha to everyone. Indeed, we got some...
It's a great way to say that.
Of course, man. We have some questions that these two are going to be answered, but before we get into that, I'm going to explain the rules. These two, by the end of this podcast, they have to reach 10 agreements on the questions that I ask them. If they agree right off the bat, then they get a point and they get a minute to talk it out. If they disagree on their initial answers, they're going to get a minute 30 to try and reach some sort of compromise. If they don't reach 10 agreements by the time my 25-minute timer goes off, then we will go to the speed rounds. We got a new speed round today, continuing our trend of fun, different speed rounds. So it's going to be all good. It's going to be a fun episode. And boys, you ready to start bantering on some ball?
Let's do it.
Heck yeah.
All right. Let's start with the NBA. And we're just going to go NBA, NHL, because I asked the same question for both of these different leagues. NBA, who's going to win the NBA Finals and in how many games? Let's see the answers here. We got...
Okay.
So they both have 6 games.
Really?
One's got Boston, one's got Dallas. I'm going to let Korey, 35 seconds, go first.
Okay, so I said the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games. Let's break down why exactly Dallas lost game 1, okay? So there was no significant offensive production from Kyrie Irving. Daniel Gafford got in foul trouble, played 14 minutes. And then the whole team did not shoot well, 3-point. Those are all things that are not going to stay that way. Now, why did Boston win? Because Dallas didn't score enough.
Yeah.
Because Porzingis had a statement game, which isn't going to happen the same way. And there was literally no rim protection from Dallas. They had 1 block the entire game.
Wow.
So all of those things are not sustainable for Boston. Boston should have been scoring more points in that situation. Yeah. They're not going to. Dallas is going to come out gunning.
All right, and Kyle.
And I think that's a very fair kind of idea for this. And I honestly, I hope that is what happens. But I said Boston in 6 because, yes, they didn't score a whole lot in game 1, but I think this is probably going to be the theme for them in going into this series. You know, I absolutely love this Mavericks team, but I think the cohesion in Boston right now is a lot bigger and a lot better, and it has been for longer than it has been in Dallas.
Okay, sure.
So, as a collective unit, they have been together. Because, let's be honest. They were PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, they were on the trade deadline. And they've been good acquisitions.
Sure.
If we want to talk about team collectiveness.
Team collectiveness,
yes.
Celtics brought in a lot of random players as well. They brought in...
I'm saying since the start of the season.
Sure. Joe Mazzulla is a little bit of an X factor as well because he's not experienced in this situation. So I don't think that that's something the Mavericks have to deal with Jason Kidd. That being said, all of that combined, if the Celtics can't score, they're not going to win. And
they won. They won the first game.
No, sure, but against the Mavericks, they are an offensive powerhouse most of the time.
Most of the time, who's to say that this might be the streak here?
It's very possible. But I'm just saying, if you look on paper in general, I think you lean a little bit more on the idea of Boston is built to win the NBA Finals,
yes.
Right? But
I put that in my notes. They have been since the beginning of the season.
No,
they
100%.
have been set up.
But all through this postseason, I haven't seen any reason why they've why they should actually win because they haven't been playing like an NBA champion.
They had great comebacks against the Pacers and then
the Pacers, the injured Pacers.
Sure, but they did end up winning most of those games.
Yeah, because they were supposed to. They didn't play anything that they were they didn't play any teams that were actually competitive to them. I do see
that's the point of the 1 seed.
But I do see a world where Boston wins this series. I just personally do think that Dallas is going to get it done.
So you're saying...
All right, we're going to reach the timer here.
Okay, so you're saying Dallas has the higher ceiling. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, a lot of
I can agree. I think with some of the other questions here, I can definitely agree with that.
But that Dallas has more of a ceiling here,
than Boston does.
Okay.
Cool.
I don't know where we got ceiling out of this, but
that's an agreement.
It's fine. That's an agreement.
Okay. That's what you think is going to happen. That's what I hope is going to happen.
Sure. I think this.
I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than 6 at this point.
All right.
Yeah, you've kind of convinced me, but yeah, we'll say.
All right, so they're agreeing on Dallas-ish.
Dallas
in
has
6.
the higher ceiling.
Has the
Boston
higher
is
ceiling.
going to play the way that they've been. That they
Sure.
play.
Dallas could take home this series in more than 6 games. Is what they're trying to say, or less than 6 games. Probably fast.
Let's continue.
Let's continue. Let's go to the NHL for the same question. Who's going to win the NHL Finals and in how many games?
All right.
We got that.
Oh my God! Again. All right.
Okay, I think we get it a little faster.
I'll let Kyle go here first.
I said the Oilers in 7 because honestly, if there is a year for, and this is another question that we're going to talk about hopefully here, is if there is a year for a Canadian team to win it, I think now more than ever it is the Oilers right now, because I think the way that they kind of turned head against Dallas in games 4, 5, and 6 against them in the Western Conference Final, I thought was very, very impressive. They shut them down completely. And not to say I'm a very big fan of this Florida team right here. I think it's very deserving of the return to the Stanley Cup final here. But this mid-season coaching change we did see with Pittsburgh in 2016, and they ended up winning. So,
all right, and Korey,
kind of comparing here.
Sure, and they did the same thing St. Louis in 2019.
There you go.
But that being said, I mean, the Panthers, I have them in 6 games here. They're a much more complete team than Edmonton in a lot of ways. I think it's kind of funny that, like I said, Boston isn't going to win when honestly the Panthers kind of mimic the Boston Celtics in a little bit. Like,
I was going to say the Oilers kind of mimic the Celtics.
Really, I mean, like in terms of like play style,
Higher end,
because the one X factor I think
a little bit of both.
The X factor that the Panthers do have here is that the Panthers are a physical team. That is not the identity of the Oilers at all.
Sure.
And I think that's going to be a game changer.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Panthers have more scoring options, not necessarily better scoring options. They have more.
Yes.
They have more physicality. They have a lot more veteran experience. I mean, we just talked about 2019 Blues. They have Tarasenko now, who, I mean, he's been up and down, but I think he can play well in this series here. I mean, they just have more options available to them, whereas, like, Edmonton just has a few players that are going to be, like, offensive going at it.
Sure.
And I think that the Panthers are just built more to win.
Yeah, I can kind of. This one I was definitely a lot closer on than the Dallas Boston series for the NBA. I don't know. I think there's no particular aspect of the Oilers that I'm like, oh, they need to work on this going into this finals.
Really?
Finals appearance.
You don't think so?
I think the goalies have been played well. I think offensively that they've done enough, which I mean maybe not exactly what you want, but like I think they've done enough obviously to beat a very good Dallas team, to beat the Canucks, to come back to beat the Canucks in that second game or second round series. But as much again, I think I definitely want the Panthers to win more than the Oilers.
I mean, I don't know.
I think I'm a little closer on this one than the Boston Dallas.
Yeah, I do think the Panthers are going to take this home. I will say I think Edmonton has a little bit more recent historical precedent. Like I think they're built similarly to like the Colorado Avalanche in 2022. I think they're kind of similar to that team. So I think there's more of a reason. Like if the Oilers are going to win, because you said Canadian team, this is the best chance they're going to have.
This is the best Canadian team since.
I'm going to agree on you that like if the Oilers are going to win, it's going to be this season.
Yes.
But I do think Florida is a tough.
I would say it's the exact same thing for Florida.
All right.
If they're going to win,
so we're agreeing that it's going to be close. Whoever team wins,
I think it'll go to 6 or 7.
Probably to 6 or 7. All right. Let's switch it up here. Let's go to the NFL. Let's talk about probably the biggest news of the NFL this week. Justin Jefferson signing that massive contract, and Christian McCaffrey also receiving a contract extension as well. So the question is, which non-quarterback player do you think deserves to be paid next? And they both agree here on Micah Parsons.
So
they talk it out.
Slam dunk pick, Penn State kid. I think by far the best defensive player, particularly at his age. I think he's 24, 25.
Yeah, very young.
Very versatile. You can put him as an edge linebacker, as a defensive end. His size, speed. There's nothing to hate about his game.
100%. And other than Justin Jefferson, the most paid non-quarterback is Nick Bosa. So I mean, if he's getting that money, I mean, I don't see why Micah Parsons isn't in line to do the same. Like the question isn't like, oh, who do you think deserves it that isn't necessarily going to get? Like he's 100% going to get this money.
Okay, the issue is with Dallas is that they have both Dak, or all three of Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and Parsons. They have to pay.
That's true.
And I think I think out of those three,
I think he's the one you pay.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not worried about it at all. And I think, he's just next in line.
He's the most impactful player on both sides of the ball, or either side of the ball for Dallas. Yeah, I would say.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Micah Parsons, the next player to be paid. Get that bag. Shout out Penn State. We got the hat right there for them. Let's go to the MLB, round out all the 4 sports here. Let's go to the first question I have up here. What team in the league absolutely 100% needs to be buying at this year's trade deadline? And they agree, but the same division. So let's see if they can.
I don't hate that answer either, Korey.
All right, Korey, I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I said the Phillies, and this isn't necessarily like a who needs to buy the most things. It's just like who cannot go without making a move here, and they need an outfielder. They pitching gets better in the MLB every day. They need to capitalize on players who can hit those balls and stuff like that. I think in terms of contenders, I see the Dodgers, I see the Yankees. I think that Philly is kind of the oddball out there. That I think I put them in a similar category as Baltimore, where they don't necessarily have the crazy star power of everything, and especially with injuries, they're dealing with injuries. They need to make moves now to keep their forward momentum going right now because they're playing.
Right.
They're playing very, very well.
Talk about
so I said Atlanta, and we had this conversation last week on the pod. But I think with your starting one of your better pitchers in Strider and obviously Acuna going down, and we had the discussion that they won in 2021 without him. But I think a guy like him who won MVP last year, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Too.
Acuna, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're losing literally a MVP on your team. I think you do need to go out because I think the National League right now is very uncompetitive. I think there's 4 teams above 500 right now, and there's 4 teams above 500 in the AL Central, which is really incredible. This is ever fat. I think that they still have a decent core they can build around, but you need those pieces. I think.
Sure. And the reason why I picked the Phillies over someone like Atlanta over someone like Milwaukee is because whenever I think why do you need to buy at the deadline, specifically at the deadline? And I think it's because you're making a run for the World Series here. I think it's more important to capitalize on what you have now.
Sure.
And I don't see a world where Atlanta is going to be able to make trades and just kind of go into that upper echelon of teams. Maybe they can make a solid run in the playoffs. But I think the Phillies they've proven that they can do this, but it can very easily fall apart if they don't sub in for those injuries and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I think for World Series aspirations,
I think to not only because I think they're good right now. I think they're still pretty solid right now, but to not only accelerate into a next sort of level, I think I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I think
all right. So
Philly has the opportunity to win now.
We are
aside from I don't think Atlanta does.
We are agreeing on the Phillies that they absolutely need to buy. So I'm just gonna transition into the next question, which is about the Phillies. Okay. How sustainable is their play right now? Because they are scorching hot. How sustainable is this play for a team like the Phillies for the rest of the season? All right, as they write down their answers here, a couple long ones. All right. Kyle and
okay.
I don't know. Is this?
I mean, sure, very much. I understand that. I mean, the one caveat that I will say, I think we can agree. So let's talk about it for a minute. The one caveat I will say is kind of what I just said now is that they can't just keep it as it is right now. They need it.
Sure, but I think if there is ever a situation where they could,
well, okay. I think they need changes. I think this is sustainable, though. I think their success is sustainable. They just can't be complacent, necessarily.
That's fair. Yeah. No. And that's not exactly what I meant in this.
Well, no. What you're saying with the National League and everything like that, their division is very not competitive.
I would argue it's the worst in the
Sure. And I think it's definitely sustainable in terms of regular season victories and everything like that. So I don't see them going anywhere in the regular season here at all. But, yeah. What?
Okay.
Are you looking at?
Who? The Phillies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Why were you looking at me all weird there? Yeah, I don't see them going anywhere here because their wins are not going away because they're playing the same teams all the time here.
All right.
Well, I mean, typically, whenever they do have a close loss, which they typically have, they rebound pretty well.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. That is 5 agreements. We're already halfway here, and we have just a little over 10 minutes on the timer left. Let's go back to the NBA, and let's talk about What is the biggest area in the NBA Finals that will decide who will win the overall series?
Man. This is something that definitely favors Boston, but it's.
Oh, I disagree. I'm
okay. All right. So
it's funny how you said you think that Dallas is going to win.
I'm gonna let Kyle go first here, but
I said the backcourt, specifically Luka and Kyrie, which is again another question here. I think those are probably the best combo of guards we've seen in the last
in a while. Yeah.
Even the Slash Bros and Golden State. I think you could argue that. I think that this is even better. If Luka and Kyrie their boots have been very, very big this playoff season, but particularly now they're going to get even bigger. I think Boston can hold up pretty well. Again, I think if there is a team that can hold up well, it's going to be them. Obviously, Drew Holiday, great defensive guard there.
Yeah, and kind of in a similar light, I said depth in general, meaning who can take advantage of their depth more. Because, like you said, Kyrie and Luka Doncic are the driving force of this team. They accounted for 47% of all scoring, of their team.
Their another season.
Yes,
that's really
and they did it again in Game 1 as well. It was 48% for the season, 47% for Game 1. So, with that being said, Dallas needs to lean on a couple of other guys here. You can't have Jaden Hardy be your third highest scorer whenever he didn't even score that much. Whereas Boston has all of the options available to them. So, with that being said, I think Boston definitely has the advantage in terms of depth, but it's going to come down to the idea of the next man up mentality. It's if Gafford isn't there, we need somebody to get rebounds in Dallas. We need Sam Hauser to get rebounds in Boston.
Well, I think you even said it best for my argument there is because Luka and Kyrie have scored half of the entire points. Well,
then it's not going to come down to them then because they can do everything. They can do everything, and they're not going to win if you don't have Derrick Jones Jr. putting up some points. If you don't have other guys on their team putting up some points. And I think in the same exact breath, you can have Boston's backcourt doing garbage, and they can still win. So it comes down to the depth and those players that they have available and the next hand up mentality. And because you saw Al Horford, last night he was starting and he was okay, I'm playing great, but guess who's scoring? Porzingis. Yes. So let's get him in. Let's work in those rotations. So it's always they're fitting every piece where it needs to go, and that's more important than just focusing on.
The Celtics are definitely a multi-headed monster,
and that's going to be the game. That's going to be. That's
so
what
you said Dallas and 6 is where I'm trying to.
I said Dallas and 6 because I think they're going to be able to capitalize on their depth. On their depth, I think they're going to be able to see, hey, we can get.
They made some smart moves in the trade deadline.
No, exactly, and again, I really put it on Gafford. He only played 14 minutes on Game 1 because he was in foul trouble. That's not going to happen again.
All right, are we agreeing?
I think it's the depth. I don't think it's just that backcourt.
I think if there is a backcourt that can do it, it's them. But I think I definitely can agree that the depth is going to play a very, very big role, especially for Boston in this series.
All right, we're agreeing on the depth of these teams. That's going to be the key factor in winning the NBA Finals. Let's go back to the NFL here. Let's go to the third question I have for the NFL. What second-year player going into their sophomore year is ready to take the next step into superstardom?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Different answers. I like both of them. I'm going to let Korey go first here.
Okay, so I said Bijan Robinson, and I feel like this just makes sense. He already had a really solid rookie campaign. He almost had 1,000 rushing yards. He just didn't necessarily get the recognition of other people in his class, like Devon A-Chain, who kind of came a little bit out of nowhere because he kind of did what he was supposed to be doing. But if I'm Atlanta and I've got this weird quarterback situation with Kirk Cousins and with their rookie Michael Penix, then we're relying on Bijan Robinson a lot more now than ever. And I think if there's any time to give him the keys, I think you give it to him now. So I think with that, his production is going to go up, and when you do that, his success is going to go up.
And Kyle,
some good points there by Korey. I do like Bijan Robinson, but I said Sam Laporta. So I think he didn't break the record, but he's now fourth all time by rookie receiving yards by a tight end. Only followed by, we had Kyle Pitts, a guy on Atlanta, and Ditka. Typically, Iowa tight ends work out pretty well. I've seen that with George Kittle and all the folk. And I just think for the Lions this year, they signed Goff to that very, very big contract, and I think they're going to lean in I think he's probably the second best receiving option on that team, aside from St. Brown, who they also signed to a very big contract. And I think they're going to lean in a little more to that tight end set, particularly. I think Detroit is always done that with Hawkinson, with people in the past.
Yeah. So my thing is, I think Laporta is probably more in line to like have more of a linear growth of like in terms of getting more options, getting more success, and just kind of grow with a really solid line system. Whereas Bijan Robinson, like Atlanta, I think they are willing to just give him the keys.
And particularly with what's his name gone, with the head coach gone.
No, exactly, and like there's really not much better. Like their running back too is Allgaier, which is not
Algier.
He
had a 1,000-yard season his rookie year.
Sure, he's fine.
1,000-yard season of all time.
He's fine, but like
BYU legend.
But like I think Bijan Robinson is definitely like whereas Laporta is going to be like fit into a system where it's just like let's like get everybody is playing well, all of this. I think Bijan Robinson is going to be one where it's like, hey, take us a little bit to the promised land here, and as you do that, you're going to get more options.
See, that's I understand why you're saying that. Particularly even in the NFL, it's very rare that a running back is able to do that, much less in their second season in the NFL. Obviously, we have guys like McCaffrey, who just again also signed a very big deal.
Which I mean, Christian McCaffrey himself said that he thinks Bijan Robinson is going to be the next him and start doing that in the next couple seasons.
But I think there's very little precedent aside from him for a running back to be like that vital of a vote.
Atlanta doesn't care. Atlanta doesn't care about past precedent. They just drafted a quarterback after getting they don't care about past precedent at all right now. They are saying, this is our talent. Let's capitalize.
Sure. I just think typically through history, I don't want to rely on running backs, particularly younger guys.
Okay. And how many years did it take Henry to develop?
Not as slow as you maybe think, but I think
he was a little older.
I think honestly, we could see a very good season. I think both these players. I think I want to stick with my guns here.
First disagreement. That's going to keep him at six?
Yeah.
It's going to keep him at 6. Let's move on here. Let's go back to the NHL. We haven't touched on that in a while. Let's talk about the Oilers coach Chris Knobloch throwing shade at my Buffalo Bills over, the weekend, Monday? I don't know. Essentially saying that championship experience doesn't matter when playing in the championship. So to what extent do you think, is he right or wrong about this? And will they write down the answers? Oh, and they...
Oh, really?
They disagree completely. I'm going to let Korey go.
Okay, so, I mean, I never played in the NHL or any professional sports, but I refuse to believe that storyline doesn't at least change a little bit of the atmosphere, especially at a high level of the finals and in the Stanley Cup Finals here. Because, I mean, if you're a Cinderella team, you're going to feel that air, especially in somewhere like March Madness. If you're the hated favorite like the Chiefs, you're going to feel the all right, we got this. We're going to be and that makes a difference. That's going to change the mentality of these players, and it's going to change the locker room discussions you have. People are doubting us. We're doing that. That changes everything. So whether or not it's going to change actual results, it changes how the games are played.
I think that's really weird that we disagree, but that's most of my points for this is that I think you obviously experience does help, but once we get into points like this, it's kind of almost lightning in a bottle sort of situation where if a team is playing well and the media is telling they're doing well XYZ, they're definitely going to feel that in the locker room during games. I think they're going to feel that, and I think for again, I found it very funny that the question that he asked us did not imply that it was about the Bills. When I looked this up, it said it was the Bills.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When you look at there's a player on Dallas called Joe Pavelski, and he's been in the league since 2006. He's probably going to retire this year, unfortunately. He has been fighting for his life. He's definitely a Hall of Famer, I would argue, but he's not won anything. So experience obviously helps at some point for most of the guys, but.
Well, I mean, specifically, he said championship experience.
Yes.
I mean, Florida was there last year. I mean,
yes.
Florida's going to be there now, and they're going to that's going to make a little bit of a difference. And I think it shifts the storylines, which makes a difference, and it also shifts how you deal with those storylines and everything like that. I mean, I think Connor McDavid is going to have a little bit more lights on him in this series of being oh wow, this is my first experience here. In
I think Oilers are feeling themselves.
I think they're feeling themselves, but I think they're definitely feeling that idea of like, okay, this is
they're the underdogs.
We made it. Like this is like we're here and we got to fight to win it. Whereas Florida's like, okay, this is how we win. Because guess what? Last year we were the Cinderella team that wasn't supposed to be. Here's what we take from our experience to know how we can do this.
And they lost 9-3 in the last game.
Sure, sure. But and I think everybody can see like, hey, this is a team that's more complete, that's more ready to win than just the.
They're more fierce, they're more ferocious.
Exactly, they're
finally
exactly. Physicality is also a big thing
Yes.
that I think comes with Stanley Cup experience as well. Like their physicality as a team.
Well, I think the Oilers
they were willing to
experience
push them around.
I think the Oilers had. I think we're disagreeing that one
The
team
Oilers have
has
more
more experience. Over
The
the
question was championship experience.
Well, I think in general the team. I think a lot of the players that have been there for a while have seen so much heartbreak and whatever.
Whatever. I mean, you've seen a ton of like in the early 2000s, late 90s. You see things all the time in the NHL where they're the same teams winning. Like I mean, look at the Red Wings and the Devils in the late 90s.
Sure.
And Penguins and all the like, Blackhawks, Kings.
Yeah.
Like 2010s, like same teams
that.
win all the time.
Yeah.
All right. So,
I don't think we're as far apart as you think we are.
all right. So they agree here. Let's move on. Let's go to our final question before the speed round here.
Right.
Let's go to the NFL. Just a little fun question I thought I'd throw out here. Who do you think should grace the cover of the new Madden game that's going to be coming out soon?
All right.
And they disagree.
Give me this one, Korey, please.
They disagree.
What? That is absurd.
We'll let Kyle go.
Okay,
Before we
I
hear
said Joe
Corey's
Burrow
reasoning.
because if I'm being quite honest, they've stuck to quarterbacks a lot recently. It was Allen last year. It's been Mahomes like twice.
Mahomes and Brady, yeah.
Lamar Jackson. And I think this is definitely a very big year for Cincinnati, where they're kind of rebounding. They had an okay year even without Burrow for most of it, but they're going to try to rebound and try to hopefully get back to the Super Bowl here. I think he's also just in general a very league-wide like appreciated player. I think there's not a lot of players aside from like Cincinnati fans or aside from like Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Baltimore fans. I think players like him.
Sure. Right. Okay, I don't like the Burrow pick because what if he gets injured like 2 weeks into the season and then your cover means nothing? What I do like is having non-quarterbacks on the cover because they haven't in a few times. So I was initially thinking Justin Jefferson, but I saw the like contenders for it that they were thinking. I picked Justin Tucker, the kicker. Here's why: because he's not going to be impacted by the Madden curse in terms of his like legacy and everything like that. That's going to be a huge thing. We're going to make sure that these other guys that are contenders aren't going to be hurt by the Madden curse. And you gotta have like recognition to him as a player because like other than like being the only kicker that's not drafted in the 11th round of fantasy leagues, you need more recognition as the best kicker of all time. Like Justin Tucker, if any kicker is gonna be on the cover of Madden, it's gonna be Justin Tucker.
Actually, I would think of maybe one or two before of Tucker, but. That's absurd.
MVP.
There's a guy in the like 80s
who won the
MVP, and I would probably think of Washington. Yeah. I think Justin Tucker. I think is very inarguably my favorite Raven because there's not a lot of great Ravens as a Steelers fan. I like Lamar Jackson, but that is absurd, Korey. I'm being quite honest with you.
Look, I looked at there's like 5 names that are out there, and one of them was Justin Tucker, and I'm like, I think he should. Now, do I think he's going to? Not necessarily. Do I think he should? Yes, because again, you got to think of the curse. Do you really want Joe Burrow to get hit with this curse after he already has his downfall?
The curse was
as a Steelers fan, I think you might want
the curse was kind of broken when Mahomes was
Justin
on the cover
Tucker, man,
and won the Super Bowl in the same year.
Okay,
so I don't know about
there's
that.
exceptions to the rule, but guess what?
So I hope this can also be the exception.
Yeah, and guess who was also an exception to the rule? Justin Tucker, who made the Madden cover, who's the greatest kicker of all time. He should be on the cover of Madden.
You're sticking to your guns here.
100%. He should be on the cover of Madden.
Okay. Look at precedent, dude. They've done quarterbacks the last 5 years.
No, exactly. So it's time to switch it up. Get back to the Antonio Brown era of covers.
Who's the last non-quarterback?
You guys are disagreeing.
Yeah.
Disagreeing here. All right, that's fine because you have 7 agreements. As we go into the speed round. And the speed round today is guess their video game ranking.
Justin Tucker, 99 overall.
Yeah.
I think he
might be.
He was for some time.
Oh, yeah. All right, so I have 5 players here. There's going to be 4, 1 from each league. So NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL. And then 1 wild card player who I had our great friend Sammy Saw pick for you guys. So I'm going to give you those players. You're going to have to guess their rating in their respective video game. You are allowed a plus or minus 2 on them. So say a guy is like an 85 overall. If you guess an 86 or an 87 or an 84 and an 83, I will give you the point. All right?
I don't play video games.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I played NBA 2K. All the other ones, no idea how they do their rankings.
Yeah, okay.
NFL, I might do some.
Yeah, I don't know how Madden does their rankings. Mm-hmm. Like, it's all positionally, I would assume.
Yeah.
It has to be.
There's going to be one in there. Well, if you don't reach... There's going to be one in there that might fool you up a little.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. First player we have, the NFL, is Fred Warner.
Fred Warner.
Okay, so I would think he's probably top 3, top 2, maybe the best linebacker in Madden. I mean, can you think of a better linebacker than Fred Warner right now?
Okay, sure. But, like, so let's just think, in Madden, do they, like, is the best player from each position typically like a 98, 97 or something?
They typically...
Okay. What's the cap for a player
99 or even 98 is typically reserved to maybe, like...
Justin Tucker.
A dozen players. I think even that's pretty generous.
A dozen players per year getting 99s, 98s?
I think even that is... Okay, maybe 8 to 10, maybe. I was being a little generous on that ranking.
Sure. All right.
I think
maybe a 94.
I was going to say 94. I'm fine because I think that's within range that it could be.
Let's do 94.
Let's do
We only have 2 minutes.
95.
95?
I think
why? Because do you think he could be a 97? I think he could fall to a 92. We got to get within 2 here. I think it's more likely that he falls to a 92 than that he goes up to a 97.
All
right, fine. Well, I don't think he should. I'm just thinking.
I think Madden-wise, he's probably thought of as. I think he is probably the best linebacker in the NFL.
All right.
So I think 95.
95
is within 2.
You guys are going 95. His overall is 96 overall.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we still would have gotten it.
Still, but I was like. Is he the best linebacker? Was he
I'm not sure. I know he's the best overall rated player on the 49ers. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not.
All right. Anyways, let's move on to the NBA. Your player, Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
Anthony Edwards.
Somewhere in the 90s.
Is this a new rating for? Did they give him a new rating?
Pretty sure it is. Let me.
So somewhere.
Because I think he started the season like 87. I think now he might be 91.
Yeah,
but like
I'm fine with 91.
Well, but like if this is brand new, then they may be brand new. Then he might be a 94.
I mean, how
genuinely
impactful do they take season by season?
They do, dude. They like whenever Miles Bridges like had like a 20-game run, they updated their roster and he went up to like an 88.
From what?
From like a 81. Like it was like crazy. So like. I think maybe 93 for Edwards.
I'm fine with that. That might be a little too high. I think he's probably like a 91.
I think he's probably a 91, but like 93.
90. He's a 95 overall.
Oh wow! He was stuck on the other side.
Yes, we got it.
Just got it.
Wow.
All right.
I told you it was going to be that they were going to impact.
Crazy.
So that's a brand
I remember
new
seeing it was like 91.
No, that's what it was. I
really?
think it's up now to 95.
Okay.
All right.
For him.
Anyways, your Major League Baseball player
We need one
is
more.
Bryce Harper.
Okay. If we can get a guy, it's him.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to say he's the best player right now in the MLB or top 5 at the very least.
Maybe.
Like if Ohtani is probably a 99, I would imagine. If there is a guy who's 99, it's probably Ohtani.
You think he's a 99? Okay. All right. Okay. I think Bryce Harper 96 sounds right.
By the way, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of hit because MLB does their rankings in like 2s. So the rating I took for him was Diamond Dynasty. The ratings are a little bit lower on that than
A little bit lower.
A little bit lower.
For everybody.
So 95, 93, 94.
I think 94 is a good guess.
94.
I was going to say 93, but I think there's if there's an opportunity for him to be higher.
For him to be up, I think. Yeah.
And I don't think he.
He might be up to a 97 actually.
If you want to, I'll let you call that.
95.
If you want to say 95, but I think again, if there's a.
But I mean, he's saying it's low. He wouldn't have said this if we weren't initially starting too high.
So I think 94,
93, 94. Okay, 94.
94. Well, you should have gone with 93.
I knew he was a 91.
He's a 91.
Oh, I was worried. Okay, all right. What's our last one?
All right, NHL.
No, we have two more. Right?
You have two more, but you need one agreement.
The last one's gonna be FIFA, isn't it?
No, it's
if
actually.
you pop us with a FIFA rating.
It's Connor McDavid.
Oh, okay.
NHL.
David. Oh,
so he wears 97.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe. Okay, I think 95 is a good place for him. Genuinely, like I would put him maybe 95.
See, the issue with that is I think he might be
a 99, like 98.
He might be like very high up. So like,
I mean, they're trying to sell games, man. Maybe So maybe
95. Is that what you said?
I can bump it up to a 96 because I don't see him going. I don't see him being a 93.
Okay, so the max we would get for that is 97. We said 95.
I think 98 is a safer bet. Because he. Honestly, I'm okay with saying 97 because I don't see him falling below 95.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, 97.
It's right on the dot, 97.
Whoa!
Yes.
Again, just like his number. All right. Let's.
Yeah, 97. Are you want to do the final player?
Oh, yeah.
Final player is CJ Stroud. I just want to see you guys take a guess on this.
So
right?
This
is brand new.
Is this after this season?
It might be before this season.
It might be. I feel like you would know if it was.
Yeah.
I think it is before. It has to.
Okay, so he might be like an 80. Like he may be
81, maybe
81. Yeah.
80.
80. Well, okay, so
he might be high 70s.
I know NBA 2K ratings, like rookies typically hover around 80. Like Wembanyama was like an 83, which was like a little absurd. And so like,
well, he's Wemby.
No, sure, but I'm saying like that was abnormal. So like if Madden ratings are similar, then and especially if it's positionally, like saying he's a quarterback, then I can see him being around 80, 81.
I'm fine with 81.
Yeah, because I can see him going up to an 83 potentially. 81.
Yeah. All right, he's an 80 overall.
Called it.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys reached 10 agreements even without the CJ Stroud question. Mean to avoid punishment, which we still have to do for season 1, but that's a different story.
We'll have a punishment like Palooza.
Yeah.
Punishment Palooza.
But for the 3 Kyle has to do, for the 2 we have to do. Yeah. I don't know, yeah. But it'll be fine. But anyways, thank you guys for watching Banter Ball this week. Make sure you go like, subscribe, follow us on all the social medias. If you think of a social media platform, we are probably on it. So make sure you go follow us over there. We're continuing to put out content almost daily now that I have some time to do that. So please make sure you go like that as well. Anything you guys want to say before we end this?
No.
No? All right.
Just go Mavs.
No. Go Mavs.
Yeah, go Mavs.
I also like the Celtics, by the way. He hates the Celtics. I do like the Celtics.
I like some players on the Celtics.
I like
I think
Brown,
collectively
I
I like the Celtics more.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Go Panthers. Go Mavs. Those are my 2 teams I want to win the finals. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.